credit and admiration and inspiration goes to those victims' family members. They really said everything that needed to be said, and they're not, that's not what they do for a living. They spoke from the heart, incredibly affecting. It was effective to me, and it was really, they're what this case is about. They're why, after 30 years of doing this, I'm an optimist by nature, because I don't dwell on what defendants do. I dwell how victims act, how they coalesce together, how they jealously protect the ones they left behind, how they look out for each other, and how they overcome. And I just want to say, I want to say one thing to the victims, if I could. I want them to wreak their revenge by going on and having great lives, by being happy, by being fulfilled, by being satisfied that they stood by their loved ones and did a wonderful job. And now it's time for them to heal and to go on and realize the tremendous potential that they all have, because they're absolutely extraordinary people. So that's my greatest wish for this case, is that the victims continue their journey, continue to heal, and go on and live the lives that they all deserve. Does anybody have any questions?
Can you just say what Rex Heuermann said? We couldn't quite hear it. What did you think about what he said?
I don't care what he says. I said that before. It doesn't matter what he says. What matters is what he did and what he said before he got caught. And as the victim so eloquently detailed, he didn't have very many good or nice things to do or say before he got caught. I do believe he said something to the effect of, he acknowledged, I don't know, I'll let the record reflect what he said, because I don't really remember what it was.
Tierney, have we passed the era where serial killers can get away with it for as long as they have, given the changes that have taken place in technology and things like that?
Well, I wish that were true. I think it's gotten more difficult. But I've been beating this drum, and I'm going to beat it one more time. The contribution or the lesson that we should learn from this, that this wasn't one person. This isn't like, and I think sometimes the media likes a simple story, so they're like, oh, it was this piece of evidence or this person. That's not what solved this case. What solved this case was, I just mentioned two individuals, highly talented investigators. One of a legion of really talented investigators in this case from a whole bunch of different agencies. They came together and they had to work through the district attorney's office. And I don't say that because I'm a district attorney. I say that because I know what the district attorney or what any prosecutor's office has, which is the power of subpoena, power to issue search warrants, power to call a grand jury. So you bring all of those talented people, you gather all that evidence, and you put it into a grand jury investigation, and you get results. So I think that's what we need to get from this, but hopefully we could work towards what you're suggesting, but I don't think we're quite there. But we've certainly getting there, and it's getting more and more difficult, because as we see in our digital and forensic world, there's a footprint that's left behind. We just have to be able to find it.
Right. Is this over? Is this case done?
Well, this particular case, this indictment's done. The work is never over. We mentioned some other victims, in the courtroom today, and Suffolk County is a large metropolitan area, 1.5 million people. So we've got a lot of work to do on other cases. We're going to continue to work on those cases. The nice thing about this is all the talented people and all the resources we can dedicate it to those other cases.
Do you believe that Rex Heuermann may have murdered other people aside from what he pleaded guilty to and admitted to here in Suffolk County?
I think the poor people that have been around and I've tortured, they know what I'm going to say. I said, it doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what I believe. I'm not going to talk about what I think because it's irrelevant. And I think again, we need to learn lessons. A lot of prosecutors are very free of talking about what they think.
Do you have evidence suggesting?
If I had evidence, I put it into a grand jury and an indictment, and then we come and talk about it. Until I have that, I'm not going to talk about it.
When is he leaving? Where is he going? Tell us about that.
Well, I heard he's going quick. And as I said, Suffolk wants to be rid of him, and so he's going to be going quick. I think he's going to be going by the end of this week.
Do we know where?
Where will he?
I don't know. I don't know if he's already been designated. Sometimes he goes straight to the facility. Sometimes he goes to like an interim facility where he's designated. But that's a state Department of Corrections situation.
Can you just elaborate more on what you said before about him continuing to manipulate his family and sort of enriching himself through them still?
It's pretty obvious, right? So I think it speaks for itself. By sort of the trickle of information that came out, I think he kind of tried to sanitize the information about this case. I think that the victims gave the unvarnished information and truth about what this defendant is, what he did, and the effect it had. So I was so pleased and inspired and proud of victims, because they really gave a great accounting for themselves, for the family members, and it was that, again, that's what this case is about. This is why we care about these cases first and foremost, because everyone in life, to a certain extent, is two-dimensional, portrayed two-dimensional, but there's much more nuance to things. The family members knew the victims better than anyone, and they really, better than anyone, were able to really tell you what those women were about, and really inspirational and effective and important. So happy to have been a part of that. That's it.
Any comments about how it all ended and the judge's comments?
I think it was appropriate. Again, I should say about the judge. I had never worked with Judge Mazzei before as a judge, so I was a little apprehensive. I didn't know how it was going to go, as you always are whenever you work a case. Very strict, no-nonsense judge, as you saw. Really, but given the complex nature of the case, the volume of the case, really handled the case well. Really challenged both myself and the defense, and just really grateful for all the courtesies that he gave both sides, and the job he did. Both him and his staff and the court officers and everyone really did a great job. So proud of the professionalism here in Suffolk County. And the defense, they were great too, in the sense that when you have a case like this, there were a lot of opportunities for them to complain about discovery, and we got together, we communicated, we said, listen, you can complain all you want to the judge about discovery, or we can work together and we can make this thing flow, and we can help you to have this stuff make sense, and that's what they did. So there wasn't a lot of issues that, unless there needed to be issues, there weren't issues. So grateful to them as well.